Hello, 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 and welcome to Pieces that Pat Paints. I'm Pat. We paint pieces. Paint lots of different types of pieces. Mostly they're small. Like I paint like small pieces. For now. I've painted large things before. Uh, that's a weird tangent. I don't need to get into that tangent. Anyway, we're working on Radagon here. This is a piece from a game called Elden Ring. For those of you that are familiar with the game, you'll be delighted to see the progress. For those of you that are not, then it's a pretty cool thing to look at anyway. He's a really neat model. Today we're gonna do a little bit of working on some lighting. We have a couple of these little feathers of like light coming off of this guy. So we're gonna do a little bit of what they call as OSL, Object Source Lighting. It's an interesting technique. So stay tuned. I'm gonna show you a little bit of how to do it. We got it started yesterday, and then we're gonna do a little bit more today. Um, One of the things we really want to do here is we're going to actually take just a little bit of this orange and like right here around the area that this light is going to be, we're going to drop a little bit of this orange. And we're going to kind of bring it across like this. Now, lighting is weird. There's a couple different things to remember about lighting. Goodness, and lights in general. And then we could get really scientific about this, but it's not really necessary for the purpose of learning how to use this technique. But light, the thing to remember is that light travels in all directions, but it fades at a certain rate. So we need to cast this light across this deal because it's got a beam of light that's going to come right through here. And closer to the bottom, that light is going to kind of go everywhere. Now, as that light fades out, it's going to change its color just slightly. Da 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 da. But if you want to make it look like it's shining, you have to understand kind of how that light beam is going to work, where that light's going to shine, what's the distance in theory that it's going to go. There's a lot to it, a lot to practice at, a lot to learn. And most of the time you just kind of have to jump in and give it a whirl. Now this is like a golden light, so almost like starlight or firelight. So like the very tips of this, we want it to be orange. So that we're putting down this orange base coat more as like the finished edges of this, and then we're going to come down to here, and then onto white as we kind of work this color up. Now, of course, those light sources, these little rods, they're going to be almost pure white by the time we get done with the yellow base coats underneath. But we needed to mark them out so we knew where we were going. And it's easier for me to see that yellow. And seeing like this is on the edge of this thing. So it's really not going to show that much down this thing. Because that light is actually going this way, and it's partially obstructed right here. It is going to come this way. And of course, it's more intense down towards where the base of the light is. Same thing here. Just going to kind of come right through here. Do-do-do-do. Now let's play a little bit of music, yeah? It's better when there's music. I always wait too late to put this on. And I shouldn't. I should get it on like really quickly. But what are you going to do? Such is life. Such is life. Of course, they're going to try to make us play an advertisement. There we go. That's about right, right? I think so. I'll watch my levels for just a second, make sure I'm in good shape. Alright. Now, see this section when we get to here, we got a lot more light that's going to go down here. So we're going to really kind of get this going real good, because it's going to pop out a little ways, because there's a lot of light coming off of here. And this is why we wanted to paint all of this to what it would be without the light before we start putting the light on it. That way it's going to carry some of that glow for us into the right places. Like it'll make the glow look proper. It's kind of hard to describe, but it will. And it's okay if we get a little bit of orange on this, and we're actually going to put some orange in these crevices, because we'll use that orange in the bottom of these to kind of separate it out, the different colors as it comes up. There's not an easy way to kind of like show that change unless you just fade. It's really the only way. The cool part here is like it's gonna gush out of this, and it may frost these edges, but the rest of this is going to be mainly unchanged. We're just going to put a little edge to it where it has kind of glowed. Kind of fun. Down here is a little different, because we have these tendrils here that are going to place more light on this area. Get down in there, get down in there. Now these kind of effects are really awesome, but they're not entirely necessary for, like, say a tabletop piece. You know, you could just paint them yellow and just go on with your life, and you could be fine on a tabletop. Nobody's gonna think anything of you for doing that. But this is like a sculpture that's gonna go up on a mantle. So we want this to look pretty flippin' legit. We want this to, when they look at it from a distance, they're like, oh wow. And at first, it's going to look a little bit wrong. You're going to be like, oh my god, I'm messing up. You just have to trust this process. We've been talking about trusting processes for a minute now. This sculpture. There's a lot you kind of have to trust that you are doing it the right way. With this one in particular, it's a lot of trust for me, because I don't know much about the character, so I've been trying to learn as well as paint at the same time. I feel like it's important to get kind of an idea of what you're painting and why. I don't know why I'm painting that whole thing orange. It's just satisfying. I don't know. It's going to be yellow. I don't know. I'm just adding layers to paint for myself, but whatever. See, that's the kind of stuff they cut out of videos when it's not live. Not that you could see what I was doing. There we go. Goodness sakes. Okay. Alright, so you can see now. I'll get to where you can see the dang thing. I think my cat moved it. She's been shedding. So there's been a lot of rubbing on things. was. There we go. That's where it was. Yeah, I think she may have like booped it just a little bit. That's okay. Kidder's got a shed. Glad I noticed. Again, this will spread out, and then the orange is the edge of the light. I mean, we're putting paint down to start this color change all the way through, but the idea mostly being is that we're the edge of this light. And see, this is an interesting one because it doesn't need to go on all this, just where that light's going to hit. And hit the most. See, because like this one's going to cast just a little bit of light on his fingers right there. And all this section's going to have some to it right here, but not necessarily right on top of all of it. It's going to come to the edges of it, but not over the top. This will definitely make you heck of nervous because you just did all this work and you're worried about, oh my gosh, am I getting ready to mess this thing? I think I said that already today, but I feel like saying it makes me feel better about it. So I'll kind of keep talking about it a little bit as we go. Now, this is one of those other things that definitely is a little bit easier with an airbrush. You can throw those colors on a lot smoother and a lot faster just by the simple nature of how airbrushes work. And since they work in kind of a beam, it's easy to create light effects with it, but you really should learn how to do this. Fine. There we go. We finally got that adjusted right. Yeah, I gotta look at that screen. Because that screen right there, this thing should be like right there. And we're money. At least for this model. We're going to be changing back to another one. We'll have to every time we do another model, we'll probably have to change the lighting. Because I don't know what I don't know what the next size model is going to be. Mr. Gold may want another one, which would be awesome. He said he had another piece in, so we'll see which one it is. Okay. Ah. I get super excited when I'm doing stuff like this because I'm always nervous about getting it done. And I try to tell myself to slow down Just breathe. Enjoy the ride. It's all going to be awesome. It's done. Okay. So now we're going to slip down here to this Cadmium Deep. It's the yellow Cadmium Deep hue, which is what we used for all of these. Takes this water off of there. I have a little too much paint. Again, yellow is one of those interesting things where sometimes it takes a few of these coats to get this right. But that's the good thing about what we're trying to do with this one is we are definitely trying to get ourselves layers and layers of color here. So we're totally okay with that. Taking a few shots to get right. And remember, we're trying to get all the way up to the edge of that orange, not necessarily cover it up. That's easier said than done. And remember, we're going to be doing, we have a whole nother color after this, and we're going to do 2 layers of this color as well, just like we did with the orange. Same rules apply for getting in there and just getting it fixed up real quick, and you'll be all right. I am going to give him a little bit of a coat just to make myself feel a little better about it. And yellow is so wild because, like, it sits on there so light that you truly don't know what color it's going to end up being until after it's finished doing its little fade. So just be very patient with it. You probably are going to need more than one coat, so don't be like, oh god, it's too watery, or oh no, it's not coming, there's not enough pigment, or however you're feeling about it. Just be patient. And if you get all the way through the process and it's still not bright enough, just wash, rinse, repeat, and just do it again, and add another layer, and it'll come to life. You have to be super patient with it. Again, remember the movement of light and how light moves, and like your ambient light is going to be different than your OSL, your object source light. Like, so that's why we did the regular color of everything before we started this, because now it's got its start color and what it should have been before we got started, and that'll contrast to what we're doing now. Sir McBeardsley is back. Hey Pat, hope you're having a good Friday, man. The painting is coming along great. Yeah, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. And it's really starting to look special. We're getting close. We're getting close. I'm psyching myself up for that freehand piece I got to do in his chest. Okay, remember, this one's going to come a little bit onto his finger here. I definitely want to show that. And again, this little part right here is going to be weird because it's not going to go all the way to the top because of the way light works. That source has got to stay. I feel bad. I tried to crash stream last 2 days, but every time I looked, hey, no worries, bro. You're totally fine. It's always good to have you, but if people miss, that's just how it goes. That's I appreciate the sentiment, though. I really do. Sometimes it's kind of fun to miss one, though, because then you get to come back and you're like, oh, look how far it got. Because this one, that hammer is already starting to look legit. The work we did on it yesterday was awesome. And the hair's all done now. Kind of a sticky spot to get in there, right there. Like I said, there's a distance at which light fades. So in that distance increases exponentially as it goes away from the light source itself. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. Like, okay, well, how far away am I? And it's also versus like other light sources in the area, objects in front of that light. If there's an object in front of that light is not going to pass through it. I'm definitely, Sir McBigley says, I'm loving the way everything is coming along. Thank you, Trin. Thank you. Our patron who sponsored this one is very excited too. He seems to be enjoying the way it looks, as well as the broadcasts, which is great. That's exactly what we want to be doing as a service and as a channel. You can see how we're working that. We just keep working it up, and it's going to start to look like it's glowing in his hand. We still got a ways to go on it, but we're getting there. Thought there was a funky hair on there. Just dragging the paint around weird. Looks like it's still there. It's probably another one of my cat's hairs. Poor girl. She's shedding everywhere. Getting in everything. And a lot of it, you know, it's just using your eye, looking at it with your own eyeballs and saying, okay, that's not, that should be bright. Or, I mean, you look at light all day. Honestly, you could get a really, like an intense flashlight and you could shine it on there and make it show it to you, really. If you want to learn more about the technique too, there's so many videos about how to do this, and like every type of supply you could use to do it with: airbrushes, regular brushes, chalk, pencils. It's a pretty common artifact. Sir McBeardley says, I know what you mean. I did a huge dry shed brush of my cat broccoli yesterday. Yeah. Tis the season. Tis the season. I got 2 kitters, so I got double the fun. Plus a doggo. But the dog's super short hair, so that one's not bad. Okay. One more check on all these little spikies before we move to the head of the hammer. I really like this one down by his hand. There's a lot of space for it to bounce around on. And it's kind of a larger piece, so it really gives us that chance to dress it up. And again, like the way this thing is going, that light is just barely hitting that one on that side, but it's hitting it a lot on this side, just because of the trajectory of the object. And that seems strange, but it is definitely part of how all this works. All right, here we go. Might even need another round of orange right in here. Oop, that's too much water. Sometimes your brushes can have too much water on them. Okay. Back to as we were. And again, we've already set ourselves up for success by putting that original orange down to let us know where we're going. And you can do this trick with fire, you can do it with lights on doors, or, you know, whatever you need to make it be a light. You just have to kind of know how to change your color tones or whatever that needs to happen to get the effect you're really looking for. And you can just see how thin that pigment is for the yellow. And this is common of all things that are pigmented yellow. Yellows, oranges, and whites. They just kind of do this. And you kind of get used to it. But you can see that we kind of want it to do this, because now we can let that orange kind of bleed through, and it gives us more room to work, and we don't have to. You can be a little bit more confident, because it's gonna fade for you a little bit. So even if you're like, oh gosh, I put too much on there, then just be patient, clear it up a little bit, and then wait and see what happens. Because you might be all right. You might have put just the right amount on. Every time I turn this thing around, I feel like I find a new angle that I didn't look at it before. Obviously I did, because there's white in there, but I missed it when we came back through with the yellows, which is alright. I'm going to work on that fireball later, or whatever this thing is. It's stuck in his hammer. Part of the Elden Ring, I think, because they used this hammer to destroy it. And he's trying to use it to put it back together again. Although it didn't sound like he was succeeding too terribly much at it, from the lore I was reading. And since I think you destroy him in one part of the game, I don't think it went very well for him at all. But such is life when you're a video game antagonist. Okay. Now this is all about layers here as well. And this one may take a few. We want to leave those orange insides the way they are, and kind of start getting the edges of these other ones to be the yellow. Painting and drying and drying and painting. And layer after layer after layer, it starts to form. It takes forever, which is why a lot of times they show you this in fast forward. Which we might do that too eventually. Yeah, get with the program. But I kind of like our vlog. I kind of like this. Nobody else that I've seen does it quite like I do it, which, you know, makes us unique. And in a game where there's a bunch of different people competing, you got to have something that makes you unique. There's a lot of really awesome painters out there, so being good at painting isn't the unique part of it. There's people out there infinitely better than me. My goal is to get as good as them. And maybe we can do that together. You and my faithful crew. And it is. It's layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. When we got that first layer done, we can come a little bit closer in, even kind of getting over the top of some of that orange. Because of this, these are going to be like dang near white by the time we're done. So we're just going to kind of keep letting undertones do the jobs, and adding this, you know, layers as we go. Man, I should be getting paid for these advertisements. I swear to God. I need to find a service where I can pay for stuff and I don't have to just use YouTube. That's the next step. We gotta find a music service. It never ends. Once you get one thing figured out, you gotta figure out the next thing. That's business. And I'm not a little quiet today. This takes a lot of concentration. You got to pay real close attention to what you're doing. So I'm a little quieter today than normal. Okay. Now let's start with like the most liquidly yellow there is here. This one's going to take several layers. But you can see it's already making a massive impact, even with as thin as it is. And that is because we put our layers together properly, ladies and gentlemen, and others. You know, I'm trying to live in the new age, man. I'm old, so you know, forgive me whenever I mess those things up, guys. I try to keep track, but I can't. I'm too old. I just try to be respectful to everybody, you know. Give everybody their own space. You do whatever you want to do. I do whatever I want to do. I'm just gonna do it over here. As long as I don't bother you, you don't bother me. I don't care. Yeah, you can definitely see how fast that's changing this up. That next shade of yellow up really starts. Boom. Sir McBeardsley, I really need to refresh myself on the lore of the game, but I'll likely do a playthrough with the DLC drop. Yeah. That's probably more entertaining anyway. The lore videos are neat. They do a good job with them, but it does kind of fit. You kind of start wondering what the perspective is of the player. You know, like understanding a universe is one thing, but it's different when you're playing a game because there's a perspective that you have as the person playing the game. Deep breaths, bold strokes, baby. Gotta have them if you want to paint. that's starting to look legit, right? I'm getting a little bit of that glow effect going. Okay. I like it. I like it. It's gonna be wild when we put this white on here. It's gonna look a whole lot different. Again, it won't look like pure white. It'll look like a yellowish white, like a golden white light, which is what we're trying to do. Actually, I feel like this hammer needs a little bit more of our deep cadmium instead of our light. Still super orangey. So Mick Beardsley says, I've dropped Spotify integrates as well with OS. I've heard Spotify integrates well with OBS Steam Labs. There are also a few services dedicated to non-DMC music. I don't remember them. Did you find it out? Yeah, I definitely gonna look into it. I haven't decided yet. There's a couple of them that you can pay for that you can get like better music. So I might do that. Because then you can throw on stuff that people know. And I think Spotify has one where you can pay. It's like that, where you pay and they'll let you get a partial license for music that they have, which is good because they have a very amazing, like an immense library. It's definitely going to be something to look into in the future as we kind of push along and grow. Hopefully, we've been kind of sitting at 203 for a little while. We were as high as 205, and then I don't know what happened. From what a lot of my friends say, sometimes YouTube just kind of gobbles up your subscriptions if somebody like subscribed and didn't react or whatever. I use YouTube too much, so I pay for premium. It's expensive, but I keep it. Hey, a lot of people really like it, the premium. And that's awesome for me. If you're a premium guy, the algorithm likes you guys. It makes the algorithm go munchy, munchy, munchy. So the more like premium people that are liking and subscribe to my stuff, the more impressions I get, which is where they show my stream to other people. At least as I understand it, that's how it works. Oh, I'm getting way up there again. You can't see what I'm doing. It's so weird. When I'm painting underneath stuff, I'm always like, I'm trying to get like underneath it, which is ridiculous. You should just move your hand. Just move it around. Move the sculpture. But whatever. We do weird things, you know. Our mind starts thinking underneath, and then you start trying to be like underneath it. It's fun. I find the human condition extremely fascinating on a regular basis. Okay. And as if you notice, we're trying to get this to be brighter and brighter and brighter as it gets to the source. And these sources will end up being stark white by the time we get done. And as you can kind of watch as the layer upon layer upon layer gets on here, the form and shape of it all really starts to come into play. That's weird. What is that? I don't know if that was a hair or what. It was a weird little, I don't know, something in the paint. Or something I pulled in from out of that model. You never can tell when you're dealing with the 3D printed models. It could have been something inside of it that had finally oozed out. My brain totally like froze up on me. You're going to make these lines narrower and smaller as you go. It's to where you're using less and less of that particular color. Some of these are still just too dark, so we really got to focus this harder yellow in those places that are way too dark. Make sure we're getting it brightened up. And if we have to, we'll come back with a white more, and then we'll layer again. But hopefully we can get this taken care of with just this yellow. May take a couple layers. But remember, this is very different than like normal light sources. So it takes a little getting used to. Because this thing is coming through their fingers. And it's got light on it, so it's super bright at the source. You're not trying to make a gap in the color, which is kind of opposite of how you typically paint things. Way up high again. There we go. And again, you're trying to get it as bright as possible right next to where that light source is going to hit. So repeatedly says, yeah, I've had premium for 4 years. I tried a trial, loving not having ads and having paid for it since. I use YouTube way too much. Man, honestly, like, pretty much all I watch is YouTube stuff. I like documentaries and stuff. The only one I really watch a lot more, or as my second one would be like Curiosity Stream, and then it's Hulu, and then Amazon Prime, and down the list there. But I watch a lot of YouTube. I really enjoy. I really enjoy independent sells independent business people. Let me get that straight. Blah, 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 blah. Independent business people. I really enjoy having that go on, and so I like being able to support that by, simply being a part of the community that likes and subscribes and watches, and I like that sort of thing. So it's easy for me to jump on here and do these stuff. And I'm always telling people to go see this person's channel or that person's channel, and it's not because I'm making any money from it. It's because like I legitimately think those places need to get more recognition for what they do. Because man, there's some wild people on YouTube doing some really neat art, really great reporting, really great documentaries. I mean, it's all there. Lots and lots and lots of yellow. Like the big bird, no? This one's a little tricky. Because it's coming up this wall. And that little toe piece of it right there. Well, I was hoping we were going to get that chest today, but this is taking way longer than I anticipated to get this done. There's a lot more of these things. I keep forgetting how many of them there are. I get started on it and I'm like, oh god, there's like 7 of these things, 8 of these things. So, it's fun. It's a great piece. I really enjoy it. Enjoy painting it. A lot of fun. Alright, here we go, back to this one. Yeah, it's really hard to make things glow without an actual light source, but this is pretty dang close to what you can get done. There's people, of course, that are a little bit better at this than I am, but I have gotten pretty decent at it over the years. A lot of it's just about being brave. I saw a meme yesterday. It was amazing. It was this guy talking about how he he was never going to be as good as this artist he inspired because he had no idea what he was doing. And the otter she's inspired by was like, "That's okay, my friend. You have no idea what I'm doing either." And that's so art, like art. I mean, okay, yeah, I've got all this classical background and art stuff, and I studied a lot of art, and I know a lot of techniques and but like, there's still stuff I learn. There's still stuff I need to find out, and there's still stuff I go and teach myself. What is that little dude? You would need to come up here. What? What? Some more? Did you get cold? Yeah, I'm coming. Hello, butt. Is that better? Is it kitty break time? I don't even know how long we've been on. See, we've been on for like an hour. It's only been like an hour. I gotta finish this hammer. He's very, yeah. He's starting to shed too, but not as much as Octavia. She's really shedding. No butt. I gotta finish this painting, dude. Hey, dude. Hey, dude. Hey, dude. But hey. Yeah, you're such a sweet guy. You are. You're a sweet, sweet guy. Yes. But I have work I have to do. You're just trying to help me let the paint dry. Can you get down now? Can you get down now? Alright, thank you. I appreciate you. Golly. Canned air, blow myself off. Holy moly. Shedding like crazy. Alright. Yeah, it's about building the community building. Yeah, definitely, man. That's why I'm trying to start that up myself. Get a little community going here. I'd like to be able to get good enough to pull in some of these guys I watch to, when you get big enough, people start having you on, or they start talking about what you've done, and they start recommending you. Until then, you kind of are on the other side where you're recommending everybody, but we're gonna get there. All right, so now here's where it starts to get real bold. And we'll let that dry, and we might have to come back with just a little touch of that light cadmium on these things. It's going to depend on how they look when they dry. But like I said, they might end up needing to be yellow just to catch our gold effect right. It's going to depend on how much it fades from here until the time it finishes drying. And you never really know till it happens. Bro, I'm trying to work. I'm trying to work, my G. But dude. Yeah, I definitely think we're going to probably want to put a white or a yellow back over top of that. But alright, so let's go ahead and do that. Ah, that was a misstroke. Gotta get that quick. Whew, okay. Alright. Starting to look like we're glowing now.
daily cash on every purchase every day. That's 3% on your favorite products at Apple, 2% on all other Apple Card with Apple Pay purchases, and 1% on anything.
You just gotta make sure you're really thinking about what you're doing here. That's part of why I'm so dang quiet today. There's a lot to think about when you're trying to put light onto something that's not going to be actually lit up. We're just trying to fake the eye. And the way, so scientifically, the way your eye works is you have like rods and cones, right? And your cones, Your cones are active in brighter light, daylight, so to or office light, bright light in the office, whatever. That doesn't matter. Bright light, gizmo, bright light, bright light. But um, so when you're at night, you're using your rods versus your cones, and rods pick up colors differently than your cones do. And your cones pick up a broader spectrum of light, so to speak. So the idea is to fake the eye into thinking it's seeing something with its other senses. And it's super hard to do properly. And it's one of those last things in your toolkit kind of deals. This is one of those last little, this and that non-metallic metal technique are the ones you learn last. So now I'm even coming back now with that white some more over that yellow, and now we're really starting to get it. Alright, so we'll repeat that process here. The yellow down. We'll come back with the white again. At least I haven't gotten the hammer for today. We gotta get that hammer today too. Really only have to do those rods again, and just like one little boop around the edges and the line, or boop around the edges of the bottom and the line of the light down the tool here. What is this, a hammer? That's right. Okay. It's funny, this feels like it's about to be the easiest part of this whole gig. There are people talking outside my window. That's a little disturbing. It's just one of our family friends. He's over here, and he's getting older, so his voice is getting deeper. And at first, it disturbed me. I was like, "Who is this man?" Oh, that's not a man. That's that person who I used to think was a child and who is very close to being a man. I don't care about that. I might see it just for funsies, but I'll probably wait till it comes out on video or streaming. I guess you don't wait for video anymore. It's streaming now. Whatever. That's weird. You'd use this same technique, like I said, for campfires or whatever. This one will work great for campfires because of the colors are very similar. But if you were trying to make, say, a green light or something, then you'd start off from white and then you would change the green as it goes through into what it needed to be. And yeah, and you can see how that yellow shined out through underneath that white after we did that second round of doing this, or when we put it down a second time and then came back. Again, there shouldn't be any shadow like right where that light source is coming out. Like there should be, this definitely should be as white as you can get it. Again, we're going to throw that yellow down in here to help it make it look more like golden white, but we really want to get this sucker white, white, white. And this one almost even more so than the other ones, since it's closer. It's a bigger source, Alright, so now take that other yellow. We're just going to come through with it. Oh, I need to let this dry for just a second. Start to pull off some of our stuff. Some of it, these tendrils are ready to go, but that ball, it needs to set up. Probably gonna have to put some more white on it, let it set. Getting in too much of a hurry because I'm trying to get us to a place so we can close out for the day. But I think it would be better to just let it dry. Guess I could drink some coffee and hang out with you for just a second. Alright, I'm going to let that dry for just a moment. We definitely want to get this hammer finished today, because we got to get onto that chest and get that part done, because that's going to be... Oh, I missed some. Sherman Beardley says, I'm actually going to Midway City today. Mentioned a model shop to my girlfriend, so I think we're going to try and check it out. Yeah, awesome, man. It's a good place, you know. They do some... They got pretty much anything you could really look for game-wise. They have a bunch of different types of tabletop games. It's not just like Warhammer or just D&D. Like, they have a bunch of stuff. BattleTech, all sorts of stuff. Which is great. There's a couple of, like... Up north, there's a specific Warhammer shop. And then, you know, DC Comics on the south side, way down south, does, they're pretty cool. They have a bunch of different things. Comics and games. But yeah, no, he's a really friendly guy. Definitely go give him some business. He deserves it. Yeah, I think we're going to have to let this sit up for a little while. But maybe not. It'll be okay. All these sides seem like they're drying pretty good. Yeah, now we're going to let this sit. Might get the side done on this wall here and call it for today. Although I really don't want to. I really want to kind of get this thing done. Blow on it, maybe that'll help. That's right, folks. We are here watching paint dry. Welcome to the channel. I hope you find that amusing and entertaining. I guess we could work on his feet. Let's work on his feet. Alright, we made that color with a little bit of yellow ochre, some white, and just a tiny bit of black. That's a Mars black. Alright.
If you are moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms are stopping you in your tracks,
again, you just want to kind of get the tops of these guys. We're going to come back with a dark wash on this later.
with injections every 2 months.
But we want to accentuate all the top parts.
Serious and cancer. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've had an infection, flu-like symptoms, sores.
Alright, and we're just going to do a little bit in here because we don't really need it to be bright in there, because that is his, underneath his little cloak or skirt or whatever it is. I don't know. Again, it looks like he took a bed sheet and wrapped it up, and he's just getting down. Which is cool. Sometimes I feel like all I want to wear is a bed sheet. So I feel you, Radagon. Like, sometimes I just want to roll out of bed and I don't want to wear nothing. Bed sheet be nice. That sounds like the Taco Bell bell. Do it again. Hit that bell again. It sounded just like the Taco Bell bell. I swear it did. We definitely want that whiter, like right up towards the source. And we want this ball to be like white. We don't want, I mean, not too white because we want it to still kind of look golden yellow, but dang, it's got to be pretty good, pretty close to white. All right. Okay, we're gonna call that. That looks pretty snazzy right there. Oop, let me get down where you can see it. Derpty derp. So he's got a bunch of these light pieces coming off him. Looks great. That looks pretty glowy to me. Not bad. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. All right. Well, that's us for today, and wrapping out the week with our Radagon project. We've got to finish up his chest, and then we got to do the base. And the base should be pretty easy. I think I do like a little bit of marble texture on the top, and then like bronze for the rings around this thing. I'll throw some felt or something, some cloth on the bottom of it, so it'll sit nice. And then that'll be the end for this piece, and hopefully on to the next piece, and we'll see what that's going to be. So anyway, thank you to everybody who came by and gave us a look. Hopefully you gave us a like. Maybe you gave us a subscribe. I really hope so, if we earned it. If this is your kind of jam and you like watching people paint live and listening to me run my mouth, come back and see us. We do this every weekday from about 1 o'clock Central Standard Time to about 2 o'clock Central Standard Time. It changes a little bit, my life around things change. So it does change. But for the most part, that's our schedule. And it's every weekday from 1 to 2 Central Standard Time. Come check us out. Pieces that Pat paints. That's me. And I think that's about all I got for you guys today. Like I said, I hope you had a great day. I had a great day. It was good getting this thing done. Let's just take one more look at it before we get out. Take one more look at this hammer. Looking really spiffy. I'm really excited about the way that looks. So, and it does look like it's glowing in the inside there. Really hard to get things that have a natural shadow to have a no shadow. But you can kind of fool the eye into thinking it. And remember, that technique is called OSL, or Object Source Lighting. If you want to look that up and look more into it for those of you who paint and you want to get better at it. Anyway, that's all I got. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you next week on Monday. Thanks for coming. Bye.